press remains. There comes a moment in every life when the mirror becomes a battlefield, when the reflection staring back is not just a face, but a question, a challenge, a silent scream asking, "Is this all there is?" And in that stillness, something ancient stirs, not in your body, but in the depths of your psyche. Presence remains, not the you the world has labeled and boxed and tamed, but the you before the world touched you, the you who came here for more. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But becoming is not granted, it is demanded, it is fought for, remains. It is carved through resistance, through the blood of unchosen suffering and the fire of conscious transformation. You were not born for mediocrity, remains. For conformity, for the small comfort of being liked by people who've never met your soul. You were born to confront the shadows, to burn illusions, to stand at the edge of what is and leap into the mystery of what could be. That ache you feel, that restlessness, that quiet rage, presence remains. That subtle sense that your life is smaller than your spirit. That is your soul's protest against compromise. That is the call, and you ignore it at your peril. The truth. Most people die before they're dead. They settle. They shrink. They learn to trade authenticity for approval and passion for politeness. But not you. Not if you're listening to this. Presence remains. Because if something inside you still believes there's more, then you're right, there is. And the cost of that, more, is everything false about you. Clarity. Then stop lying to yourself. You want purpose. Then stop asking the world for permission to move. You want transformation. Presence remains. Then look your pain in the eyes and ask it what it came to teach. Because here's what they won't tell you. Presence remains. Your potential is not waiting in your comfort zone. It's buried beneath your wounds, guarded by your fears, pains, and released only to those with the courage to face themselves. Presence remains. Jung didn't study the human psyche to make people comfortable. He studied it to wake them up. He knew the unconscious rules us until we make it conscious. Presence remains. He knew the shadow we refuse to face becomes the saboteur of our destiny. And if you're wondering why you keep circling the same battles, presence remains. Why you sabotage every good thing, why you can't break the cycle, it's not because you're broken. Presence remains. It's because you haven't claimed the throne within. You haven't dared to confront the dragon in your basement. The unhealed child, the neglected dream, the forsaken voice that still whispers, "I was meant for more," and you were. But knowing isn't enough. Now you must act like it, because belief without action is self-betrayal. Vision without discipline is a fantasy, and a dream without movement is just another graveyard where your potential goes to die. So stand up. Take back your mind. Press remains. The world has lied to you since the day you were born. Told you to fit in, play small, be nice, be quiet. Presence remains. Follow rules written by cowards pretending to be kings. But you were never meant to fit into this world. Presence remains. You were meant to recreate it in the image of your soul. Thomas Edison, before lighting the world, failed 1,000 times in the dark. Presence remains. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Henry Ford went bankrupt before building an empire. Remains. Lincoln lost more elections than most people ever enter. Carnegie began in a pit of poverty so deep, most would never see the sky. All had something in common. Not genius, not privilege, not perfection. Conviction, relentless inner fire, a knowing deeper than doubt. A hunger that made comfort irrelevant. A refusal to betray the vision even when nothing in reality matched it. That's what you need now. Not more information, not more validation, not more distractions pretending to be productivity. You need decision. Remains. And decision is spiritual warfare. To choose the higher path is to declare war on every part of you addicted to the lower one. To move toward your calling is to confront the part of you who is terrified to leave the herd. And that fear, that resistance, voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" That is the threshold. Cross it, walk into the fire. Because everything you want, presence remains. Everything you're meant to become is on the other side of the war within you. And if you don't win that war, Someone else will live your story. Someone else will take your space. Build your vision, live your legacy, and you will watch. So ask yourself, do you want comfort? Or do you want to wake up? Do you want safety? Or do you want soul? Because no one gets both. The person you must become is waiting, but not forever. Time is not your friend. Death is not a distant concept. It is a ticking clock. And every day you delay your becoming, you betray the version of you that could have been, the version that was born for more. So act like it. Because belief without action is cowardice dressed in philosophy. And philosophy without courage is the path to a well-argued grave. Every great soul who ever rose from obscurity to influence did so by passing through fire. Not just the fire of adversity, but the fire of decision. Presence remains. The kind of decision that burns the bridge back to who you used to be. You will not rise by dipping your toes into greatness. Presence remains. You will rise by diving headfirst into your own becoming. By letting go of the shallow certainty of safety and choosing the sacred uncertainty of growth. Remains. Because this world does not yield itself to the timid. It does not open its gates to the indecisive. Remains. It bows only to those with the audacity to act. With bloody knuckles, with trembling hands, with no guarantee but their own relentless will. You must discipline your mind or be devoured by it. Your thoughts are not neutral. They are seeds, and whatever you plant, you will harvest. Doubt or power or freedom, stagnation or momentum. There is no in-between. Jung taught us that the mind is not a monolith, remains, but a battlefield of conflicting archetypes. The tyrant, the child, the rebel, the king, the fool, the magician. Presence remains. And unless you name and claim these inner voices, you will live as their puppet instead of their master. You must learn to recognize the voice of the saboteur. The one that says, "Who are you to dream that big?" That's not you. Presence remains. That's the internalized fear of a past where you weren't seen. The echo of a teacher, a parent. Presence remains. A society that couldn't bear the brightness of your fire, so they tried to extinguish it before it burned down their illusions. But here's the truth on presence remains. You were born with that fire for a reason, and every time you dim it to keep others comfortable, you betray the divine blueprint written into your bones. That's what makes discipline sacred. It is not punishment, it is reverence. Reverence for your future self, reverence for your calling, reverence for the life that wants to be lived through you. Discipline is not restriction. It is liberation from the chaos of unconscious patterns. So wake up early, train your body, feed your mind, guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. The people who rise, the ones who change the trajectory of history, are not always the most talented. They are the most obsessed. Obsessed with vision, obsessed with mastery, obsessed with growth, and most importantly, obsessed with the convenience, not trends, not social approval. Truth, because when you align your life with truth, you become unstoppable. You walk differently. You speak with weight. You attract you are instead of chasing what you lack. Vision, then, is not optional. It is oxygen. Without it, you will suffocate in distractions, fall prey to shallow pleasures, and become a ghost in your own story. So what do you see when you close your eyes? Remains. What world are you building when no one is watching? If your vision isn't clear, your energy will scatter. You will waste decades climbing ladders that were leaning against the wrong walls. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Burn it into your nervous system like a ritual. Because the mind without vision is a kingdom without a king. Easily invaded, easily conquered. You were not born to react to the world. You were born to shape it. Every moment is a brushstroke. Every action, a vote for the person you are becoming. You think you need motivation. You don't. You need clarity. And clarity is earned in solitude, in silence. Presence remains. In the sacred pause where the noise of the world dies and the whisper of the soul is finally heard. You need to stop running from the void and start listening to it. That emptiness you feel is not a flaw. It is a signal, a message, a sacred invitation to realign with your essence. But the modern world hates silence. It feeds you dopamine in high definition. It drowns your vision in scrolls, likes, and lies. And if you don't unplug, you will forget. Forget who you are. Forget why you came here. Forget that you were born to build, not just to consume. So protect your mind like it is the last seed of Eden. Because in many ways, it is. From that sacred space, create. Not to impress, not to compete, but to express. To leave fingerprints on the world that say, I was here, I didn't hide, I didn't settle, I became. Do not wait for inspiration to strike. Inspire yourself. Discipline is the altar where your dream is made flesh, and purpose is not found. It is forged through relentless commitment, even on days when the fire is gone and the doubt is loud. Especially on those days, remains. Because your breakthrough is not ahead of you, it's hidden beneath your resistance. And every time you act in alignment with your higher self remains, you weaken the grip of the lower one. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. This is a path for warriors of the soul. Prince remains, for those who have tasted mediocrity and spat it out like poison. For those who know that fitting in is not belonging, it is betrayal. Silence is not peace. It is self-abandonment. That success without soul is just another form of spiritual poverty. You were born for more. Remains. And the world needs you to remember that. Because when you rise, you give others permission to do the same. You shift the frequency. You become a lighthouse in a storm of forgetfulness. And if you ever forget why you started, go back to the mirror. Not the physical one, the mirror of your choices, of your patterns, of your energy. Because that mirror never lies. Person staring back still looks like someone you haven't met. That's keep the point going. You're becoming, and you are not alone.